and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on MTV that is getting down to the needy greedy. That's right, we're talking about The Challenge Season 39, Battle for a New Champion, Episode 9. And wow, I have a lot to say about multiple parts from this past week's episode. So let's start off where last episode left off, and that was Big T being eliminated by Kaycee and coming back to the challenge house. Melissa is of course upset. Her best friend inside and outside the house was eliminated. She is on an island by herself. Yes, she has Kylan by her side, but Kylan, we've heard from past episodes and even in this episode, is on the outs with his own US alliance. So this is bad news for both Melissa and Kylan. And even we hear from Melissa saying that she hopes she has Kylan, James, and Asaf, which is like, yikes, knowing what happens in this episode, because Asaf and her have this like parenting alliance that they're trying to look out for each other, bonding because they are parents. Basically, we hear from Asaf at every single confessional that it is a complete and utter lie, which Melissa does not take lightly later on. Talking about Kylan and Horacio are talking in the gym area and they're nervous. They're both in the hot seat. Horacio and Kylan are best friends, and questioning his loyalties, people are questioning Horacio's loyalties, so they know that winning is imperative because everybody just assumes that it's going to be a men's elimination next. Speaking of men and hot seats, let's talk about Emmanuel and Colleen. And I love how the editors set this up, because at first it makes it seem like they're just like having a good time, flirting with each other, maybe a budding romance between Emmanuel and Colleen. We're getting these confessionals, them saying their feelings for one another and kind of liking each other. And you think, okay, well, this is a little weird because Emmanuel does have a girlfriend back home that we heard from the launch special. So this is kind of weird, but it seems innocent at first. And then we jump to a conversation happening in a different room simultaneously to this one with a group of people who are talking about Emmanuel being a down, dirty dog. We hear from Olivia, who has cuddled with Emmanuel once or twice, and I'm putting that lightly because we don't necessarily get major details from this conversation, but it sounds like maybe something more has happened than just cuddling. We hear from Melissa saying that Emmanuel tried to kiss her twice in the house, and in an exit interview over at patreon.com/angelcakevids, I asked Melissa, when did Emmanuel try to kiss you? And she said it was definitely after Melissa and Kylan had already formed a connection with each other. So Emmanuel here is not respecting boundaries inside and outside the house. We also hear from Raven, who said Emmanuel told her that he had a dream about her. My goodness, we spent how many episodes and how many weeks talking about Callum and his relationship outside the house and what he was doing, pursuing a relationship with Michelle inside the house. This isn't just behavior that just popped up this week with Emmanuel. This has been happening, I want to say, really early in the game up to this point, and we're just hearing about this now because it delves into stuff that happens with Colleen, and Colleen is also in the mix for this episode, which we'll get into those conversations later on in this episode. But we're going to put a pin in that for now as everybody dons their challenge gear, heads down to meet up with TJ for this week's daily challenge called Doomsticks. This is one daily challenge made up of 3 mini challenge, all involving sticks. There's going to be a first place and last place in every level. The last place of every game will be automatically eliminated, and whoever wins a round will get to eliminate 2 teams on the spot before moving on to the next level. And the team to win the third and final mini challenge will win into power and win into safety. Now, TJ says that this game will be run in pairs, except for one team that will have 3 people. Here are the teams. Now you might look at the teams and say, that team of 3 doesn't have an inherent advantage. Yes, they have an extra person than everybody else, but does that automatically lock them in to win? I would say no, but I will say I was skeptical when TJ said that there would be one team of 3. And I was wondering how that was all going to play out during this daily challenge. Well, the first game in Speed Sticks, it was a definite advantage to having a third person with fresh legs, and because they weren't sabotaged, they were able to get the win. James and Melissa was in close second, but close second doesn't keep you safe. Kyland and Michelle were sabotaged because everybody just assumed it was a men's day, and they need to keep Kyland up for grabs. Michelle was in on the plan, so really no harm, no foul. And so Kyland and Michelle were eliminated automatically, and the team of 3 eliminated James, Melissa, Ed, and Colleen. No shocker there. The second game was Power Sticks. Teams would have to drag a sled to and fro on the field, picking up sticks, and once you have all 5 of your really heavy sticks in your sled, you have to pull that sled across a finish line. Now, coming into this challenge, I was thinking Coriel and Olivia had the most power and the most strength out of the teams that were left in this game, and I thought they had a really good shot of winning it. But here we are again, the team of 3 win the second stage. Jay and Moriah came in last place despite Michelle doing her best soccer mom impression on the sidelines, and because Berna had mentioned that she had a hurt groin since the very beginning of this daily challenge, the team of 3 knocked out Nerys and Horacio, Coriel, and Olivia, leaving the 2 teams of Berna and Emmanuel and the team of 3 left for the final game, called Pickup Sticks. You have to use a giant stick with a hook to transport your puzzle pieces from one end of the field over to your puzzle station. Once you collect all the puzzle pieces, then you put together a 3D block puzzle. This is where we see the team of 3 start to stumble. Berna and Emmanuel are able to work together perfectly to get all their puzzle pieces to their puzzle station before the team of 3, yet they did not have enough brain power to put the puzzle together quick enough. So even though the team of 3 was slower in getting all their puzzle pieces together, because they had 3 people and at least one person was able to take charge and know how to put this puzzle together, they did it. And so it was a clean sweep by a team of 3. Who could have saw 3 people having an advantage over everybody else who had only 2 people? Not the challenge. Again, I wasn't going to give them the win on the spot. I mean, looking back at it, it's kind of like, no duh, the team of 3 would win. And I know the format of this season, you have to get creative with it because you're trying to put together challenges, but also taking into a factor of possibly people not going home so the teams will be uneven. But this is kind of ridiculous that the only team of 3 was able to just outperform everybody else and win outright. But Asaf, Raven, and Zara win, and TJ tells them to go have a meeting and come back nominating one woman to go into this week's elimination, which catches everybody off guard. I mean, everybody just assumed that it was going to be a men's day because we just had Kaycee in the elimination. Now, Melissa has been public enemy number 1, but I think there was some feeling that maybe she could get out of this without being the initial nominee. Not saying that she wouldn't think that she would be the house vote, but she's thinking, Zara is from UK, I have this parenting alliance with Asaf. Yes, Raven isn't my biggest fan, but Asaf and Zara should be able to outvote her easily. Zara is just going with the flow. I mean, she's been a part of winning teams and has said Melissa's name, and Asaf has just been going with the flow, playing the fence, playing everybody in the alliance, so he just defaults to whoever Zara and Raven want to do, and Raven is the only person with a strong enough opinion about who she wants to nominate, and she wants to nominate Melissa. So Zara and Asaf just go with the flow and says Melissa, and Melissa is upset. Kyland even speaks up, kind of calling out Asaf for lying about wanting to be there for Melissa, trying to look out for Melissa as a parent to parent, and this gets everybody riled up and arguing with each other. Now, the one thing I will say, Big T is eliminated. Melissa is already nominated. We're coming back to the challenge house, and the one thing that could be unpredictable is who possibly could be nominated next to Melissa. Who's on the bottom of an alliance? And everybody just seems to be cool with saying Colleen's name. I mean, Colleen is the only one that is shocked because once we're at the bar, her and Ed are talking about the numbers, and Ed just spells it out plain for her. Plain as day, saying it's either going to be you or Berna. Asaf and Melissa have a pretty heated argument about what their agreement was or their alliance. Melissa thought that Asaf would have her back more. Asaf just said, the agreement was nothing more than if you hear my name, you'd tell me. If I heard your name, I'd tell you. And if Colleen wasn't having a bad enough day hearing that she was possibly going to be nominated and the house vote, she gets very upset seeing Emmanuel dancing with Olivia and Raven, I think, at one point. And coming back to the challenge house, I mean, Emmanuel, Olivia, and Raven are cuddling with each other, and Colleen is talking with Berna, and we get the lowdown. We get the piping hot tea of exactly what happened with Emmanuel and Colleen. And basically Colleen just lays it out there like, yeah, we did it. We did everything. We did the deed. Emmanuel was trying to protect his girlfriend, or probably more likely protecting his image, trying to have some plausible deniability. But this is why Colleen is so frustrated with Emmanuel, thinking that, hey, I like him. He seems to like me. We did some stuff, and now he kind of threw me to the side like a hot potato for Olivia and or Raven. This leads to multiple conversations the next day where Colleen and Emmanuel come to an agreement that they can be friends, they can be cordial, they should be alliance members, but no more of this love triangle, love square between them. It's just not going to work out. Emmanuel agrees, and Colleen is trying her best in this moment, trying to push for another name. She's trying to push for Moriah's name to be thrown out there. She's talking to Jay. She's talking to Corey. I mean, Moriah is hanging out with James a ton. She's talking about how Zara is her BFF. And we even see the group of Olivia, Nerese, Michelle, Jay, and Coriel talking about maybe Moriah would be the move to make. So it starts to leave us going like, okay, maybe it is Moriah. Except it was all a farce, because we get to the deliberation, and even though a ton of the people were like, maybe we should say Moriah's name. Maybe we shouldn't say Colleen's name. She has been loyal to us. She really doesn't have too many other hands in cookie jars at this point. Maybe we should say Moriah's name. But that all flies out the window when we get to the deliberation, and it's just like, yeah, it's better for my alliance if we say Colleen's name. So it's a clean sweep. All that strategy talk and everything was for naught. It's probably going to be a foreshadowing for later events, but for now, it's all for naught. Melissa and Colleen join TJ on the arena floor, and TJ is really hyping up the champ. To jump back to the daily challenge, we could hear TJ's 80-yard voice saying how the legend that's coming in is no joke. And then we get to this arena and says one of the best players of all time. And then TJ asks for the legend to join him on the arena floor, and Tori comes walking out to join everybody there, and everybody is excited, hooting and hollering. Now, I will say, Tori is a strong competitor, a strong player, a champion. Her numbers speak for herself, but for how much lead-in we had for this champion, and knowing that we have Laurel and Cara waiting in the wings, I mean, the way TJ was building up this champion, and for it to be Tori, not to take away anything that Tori has done, but when you have Laurel and Cara waiting in the wings and TJ is building this up of greatest of all time, best player of all time, I mean, okay, it's Tori. You know, I can't wait to hear the lead up to when we do finally get Laurel and Cara, but we have Tori for this week, and she pulls a poll to reveal Melissa's name. So Colleen gets off the hook. The rest of the house is off the hook because Chaos was not chosen. So it's going to be Melissa and Tori going into this week's elimination. Now, before we get to hearing what the elimination is, which we could see is a giant take of water, which sucks. Nobody likes to do water challenges or water eliminations. But before we get to hear what the rules are for this elimination, this is when Tori mouths to Moriah saying, "What are you doing? Why'd you do that? He's heartbroken. He's heartbroken." Speaking about bananas, because Devin took the information that he saw and heard while playing against Callum and ran out and told his BFF Bananas what was going on behind his back. And Tori wanted to let Moriah know that Bananas is heartbroken and it's all your fault. And then we put a pin in that to get to this week's elimination called Going Under, which is solving a magnetic puzzle underneath water. First player to put their puzzle together wins this elimination. And we hear a confessional from Kyland saying how Melissa does not have a good memory and does not like water or diving. And we even saw that in a daily challenge earlier this season where Melissa had troubles diving down to getting a puzzle piece. Means that this is probably the worst elimination that Melissa could have gotten, and she's going up against a really strong competitor in Tori. And to make matters worse, Melissa talks about even panicking at one point. It was not good or fun to watch, but Tori was able to get a check, but said she was wrong. Then she got a second check and won. Another 10K is lost from the prize fund. Melissa is eliminated. There are no more scapegoats on the women's side except for now Colleen. But Melissa gets to go home, gets away from this game, away from the house, and gets to go hang out with her daughter and Big T, while Tori gets 10K. And then as she's leaving, turns to Moriah and says, "Hey Moriah, keep your head in the game. Don't let anything faze you. Keep your head in the game," which is just funny. Like, why even bring up the bananas thing if you're wanting her to keep your head in the game? Like, what is the message here? Hey, you screwed up. I want you to know you made somebody really upset back at home. Also, keep your head in the game. You're in this game. You can do it. Keep it, like, mixed messaging there. But hey, we got to see some mess happening this week. Tori telling Moriah that bananas knows, as well as hearing all about the Emmanuel love triangle, love square. Colleen getting into the mix, as well as now the US Alliance will be turning on each other with so few players left in this game. I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. We're getting to that point where there's little scapegoats left in this game, as well as major heavy hitters left to come with CT, Darrell, Cara, Laurel, and Brad. And I just can't wait to see everybody's faces because they have lost $40,000 with the first 5 champions. And when you have that lineup to come, y'all are gonna be broke. But that's it for this week's review and recap of The Challenge Season 39, Episode 9. What'd you think about this episode? Let me know down in the comment section below. What'd you think about the daily challenge? Do you think the team of 3 was always going to win that daily challenge with the rest of the teams being only teams of 2? Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about Asaf and Melissa and their parenting alliance? Was there a miscommunication, or do you think Asaf used him being a parent to manipulate Melissa? Let me know down in the comment section below what you thought about that. What do you feel about Melissa being eliminated from the game? What do you think about Tori coming in and telling Moriah that Bananas knows about her and James? Do you think that was the right move to do, or do you think that maybe Tori was being a little bit of a troll, trying to get into the mental space of Moriah to maybe she'll stumble in the game? I don't know. What do you think about everything that happened in this episode? Let me know anything and everything down in the comment section below. I really want to know what everybody's theories and thoughts were about this week, especially Emmanuel. Please let me know what you think about Emmanuel and his running around like a dog in heat in this house, even though he has a girlfriend at home and other people are kind of pursuing things and bonding within the house, and he is not taking any of that into account. What do you think about that? Let me know that in the comment section as well. I want to hear what you have to say. I now want to give a special shout out thank you to everyone who supports me over at patreon.com/angelcakevids. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone who is watching this video up to this point. I'll be back really, really soon with more Challenge 39 content, more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.